Critters was released in 1986, and it was at a time when horror saw this kind of shift from towering slashers and gothic monsters to gimmicky pint-sized horrors that blended terror with camp comedy. These creatures often came with a mix of practical effects, puppetry and dark humour, making them perfect for VHS era cult fandom. This trend seemed to come after the success of Gremlins in 1984, which grossed 150 million globally, which mixed horror and comedy and presented it as a family movie. Gremlins kind of paved the way for other small creature horror flicks to be made, including Ghoulies, another camp horror which featured toilet-dwelling demons. And of course, Critters, those ravenous and strangely intelligent little furballs from outer space. They have burning red eyes, they are around the size of a bowling ball with mouths full of razor-sharp teeth that are just as big as their head. They can also roll up into balls to chase down their prey, and they also shoot poisonous spikes from their body, a perfect blend of sci-fi menace and mischievous horror. And these critters, or krites, are not just mindless murderous creatures, they are actually highly intelligent. They can pilot spaceships, and they can chow down and torment their prey with gleeful malice. This movie was very much a practical effects movie. The critters, or krites, were nothing more than hand puppets with radio-controlled eyes, and they came in all different shapes and sizes. We had a 13-inch puppet, a 26-inch puppet, and we also had a 4-foot costume, which featured at the end of the movie, which they used sparingly because it looked kind of goofy when you showed the whole thing. Now, I remember this movie being quite scary as a kid. Actually, I found it downright terrifying, but how does it hold up now? On a distant asteroid in a galaxy far, far away, the krites, which are small, furry, carnivorous aliens, escape from a galactic prison transport. And with the escape of the krites, two shape-shifting bounty hunters are dispatched to Earth to recapture them. Next, we meet the Brown family in rural Kansas. Father Jay, Mother Helen, played by Dee Wallace-Stone, who famously played the mother in E.T., teenage daughter April, and young son Brad. And young Brad clearly is a student of Spielbergian mischief, and he tries the old thermometer in the hot water trick to skip school. But little does he know that his mother's been through this before. Helen Brown isn't just any mother, she's Dee Wallace-Smith. She's already raised one alien-loving kid. This time, of course, she's not going to fall for it.
You look okay.
106.
Next, we get introduced to our small-town police force and Charlie, a quirky mechanic who believes in aliens and works on the Browns' farm. Little does he know that the two alien bounty hunters are heading to Earth, and they get a kind of full cultural download on human life by seeing a few historical events and such on their screens for a few seconds. That should do it. And then they simply get bored and switch over to MTV to watch the most 80s rock star you have ever seen, the fictional Johnny Steele. And one of the bounty hunters decides that this is the perfect look to fit in on Earth. A famous rock star, who no one will notice. Now, back in the farm, we see Brad and Charlie using their explosives and being somewhat reckless with a slingshot. Yeah, I can see nothing going wrong here. That's a perfect shot. And after Charlie shoots April in the ass with the slingshot in what I consider to be an incredible bit of bad luck, Brad takes the blame and is sent up to his room where he has his time out and makes some more explosives. His family really need to keep an eye on this kid. And what I found funny was that Brad's father takes away the slingshot, but is more than happy to leave all of these homemade explosives in his possession. Later that night, Brad notices his sister and young Billy Zane head over to the barn to get it on, whilst the alien spacecraft carting the krites crashes nearby, and Brad and his father go to check it out. And they notice that something has been feeding on their livestock, and somehow they fail to see the massive glowing spaceship that is just to their left as they walk away. And it isn't long before the krites chow down on a local cop, and we see them rolled up into these spiky little balls as they hunt their prey. And I thought this was a clever way to show the creatures in movement. When you consider they're just hand puppets, it was a really creative way to show how they hunt and how they move. And another way they portray the krites in movement is to get a POV shot from their height as they are moving towards the farmhouse. And that gave me Evil Dead vibes, you know, with the demon going through the forest. The family soon find themselves fighting to stay alive as the critters invade their farmhouse. Meanwhile, the bounty hunters have landed on Earth, but one of them still hasn't taken a form. He's a little bit picky. But the bounty hunters come across a dead cop, and the bounty hunter who has no face decides that the face of a corpse is just the perfect way to fit in. The face of an 80s rock star and the face of a corpse. These are the best bounty hunters I've ever seen. Meanwhile, back at the farm, the Krites kill Billy Zane and some chickens before Brad throws a mini explosive at one of the critters, which eats it and simply either passes out or dies, but doesn't explode. In a really bizarre scene, the bounty hunters crash into a church, and the zombie bounty hunter, who decides that it's probably not a good idea to disguise himself as a dead man, takes the appearance of the preacher in front of everyone and then proceeds to shoot the place up for absolutely no reason at all. These bounty hunters are not discreet. Meanwhile, back at the farm, the Brown family are fending off the Krites, which we learn can actually speak to each other, and they like to drop the F-bomb now and again. Now, back with the bounty hunters, they decided that they should check out the local bowling alley, you know, in case some of the Krites decided they want to knock some pins down. And the bounty hunters decide that they're going to try the hand at bowling, and I'm not quite sure that they read the rules. After demolishing the pins, they walk into the bar area where Charlie just so happens to be. And once again, the bounty hunter, who just can't seem to decide what kind of face he wants, takes on Charlie's appearance. This guy just can't make his mind up. And then the bounty hunters aggressively ask the bartender where the Krites are, which makes absolutely no sense, as no one on earth knows what a Krite is. And then after absolutely blasting the bar area to kingdom come, they carry on their search for the Krites elsewhere. Back at the Brown farm, the Krites have invaded the house, and after nearly burning down the place, the Browns barricade themselves in the upstairs bedroom. And Brad decides to go for help, and whilst hiding in the barn, he witnesses one of the Krites growing in size. And the next bit really made me laugh. These highly advanced aliens that have flown a ship across the universe try to have a conversation with a stuffed ET toy. And I must admit, this is where the movie started to feel a little like Gremlins to me in some ways, especially the silliness. Meanwhile, Brad has stopped a police car on the road, which just so happens to be driven by his friend Charlie and his favourite rock star, but we know that it is the two worst bounty hunters ever. Back at the farmhouse, the family decide to make a break for it, and things look pretty bleak. Luckily, the hero bounty hunters arrive and blow the entire front of the house off. And seriously, these guys are just the worst. The Krites are actually rolling past them on the floor, and instead of aiming down with their guns, they just blow a hole in the wall. They are just shooting anywhere. These guys are just a nightmare, and they even attack a local cop who has turned up to help. They actually throw him through the window. Brad at this point is upstairs looking for his cat, and he is attacked by the massive Krite which he saw in the barn. Luckily, Rockstar Bounty Hunter arrives and takes a shot at the massive Krite and totally misses and blows a hole in the wall. The massive Krite jumps out the window and kidnaps April and takes her to its ship. Whilst following the giant Krite, Brad bumps into Charlie, the real Charlie, not the Bounty Hunter one. The 4-foot Krite has took Brad's sister on board its spaceship, and they're getting ready to take off, but Brad sneaks on board and wakes up his sister, and the Krites give chase, but Charlie and his sister just make it out, but Brad drops one of his giant firecrackers that he made earlier. And as the ship takes off, Charlie and Brad light a Molotov cocktail and throw it through the open door, which ignites the massive firecracker. But the Krites are spiteful little shits, and they blow the Brown house to smithereens before the firecracker explodes with the force of TNT, and they are defeated. And with that, the worst bounty hunters ever decide that they've done a pretty good job, and they head back to their ship, and Brad thanks them for what? I'm not sure. They literally did nothing apart from blow the shit out of everything and everyone. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the bounty hunters only got one critter, and that critter was stuck headfirst in a toilet bowl and had nowhere else to go, and then it was expertly eliminated, along with the toilet and the bathroom. I mean, seriously, the toilet in Lethal Weapon 2 was in better shape after being blown out of the house. After the sun rises, the Brown family stand in front of their demolished house, and this is the bit that I found the most amusing. Brad was given a communication device by one of the bounty hunters, and he notices that it's blinking. So he presses a button and the house simply rebuilds itself. Walls, furniture, the mailbox, even the curtains are put back up. It's like Extreme Makeover, the Alien edition. And it all seems like a happy ending, but as the movie ends, we see some cracked eggs in the barn, nicely setting up a sequel. And oh man, did we get some sequels. 3 in fact, not including the 2019 Critters Attacks, which was a straight-to-video release. And we also got Critters A New Binge, which were 10-minute shorts shown on Shudder back in 2019. And these 2 projects were kind of like a reboot of the franchise. These movies really scared me as a kid, and I remember thinking it was a really scary, violent movie, but as an adult, I see it for what it is. It's an 80s pint-sized creature feature that blends horror and camp silliness perfectly. I think if it wasn't for the blood and the kills, it would almost be a family movie, but they decided to go the other way and lean more into sci-fi horror. On the whole, Critters is a great little 80s sci-fi horror movie that was a lot of fun, and admittedly, it still is.